Everybody, it's Patrick of the Pitch Deck. We have the Manascrew finals for you guys. Katsu versus Kano here. I just want to make note. Noah is going first. Sorry. He is going second, but he's first seed to choose. So he chose for the Katsu to go first. Typically, that's what you want. I have seen this already. So I just kind of want to point that out. It's not a blind react. So usually when you look at Katsu, you have to see the equipment. That's very, very important. Very, very important. Breaking scales, mask of the pouncing link rather than mask of momentum, which is usually correct. This loadout here is correct. AB2, breaking scales, mask of the pouncing links. If this was Breeze Rider boots, then he's probably looking to OTKU with Dishonor. Keep a lookout for that, but he doesn't have that. He has Tide Flippers. So Noah has 3 blues in his hand and a yellow. So there's actually, wait, let me back this up real quick. 1 second here. So there was consideration that Ben wanted to play this other card rather than the card that's here. So that's something that's also telling about someone's playstyle. If they're about to play down, they're about to look at something and play it and then change their mind like the last second, that could be something that you can read into. But here, I want you to note that I would probably let this hit because you're going second. You need to be able to send something. So before or after it hits, it doesn't really matter. You can probably go ahead off the top and see something. Probably do it, let it hit. See if I can't strip the last card because he could Katsu for something dangerous like a whelming gust wave. More than likely, he probably wouldn't go for a descendant because it just get blocked out. The other one would get blocked out too, but to me, I think the whelming is probably the play that he would get, and then I would try to strip something off the top. Go ahead and pitch the potion because it is a potion in his hand. So he's going with the Kadachi here. He doesn't want him to Katsu. But you are going second and you chose to go second. You're not using this to give damage to your opponent. You're not sending anything. You're blocking out. You should be filtering your hand out. So now he's filtering his graveyard. That's a bonds target. Ben is sitting in a really good position. He had one floating. He had AB2. You could probably send something. He didn't even get to pitch this pot away. That's one thing that you need to do if you got it in your hand. You're not playing that for your turn as your action point. That's tempo negative. You're letting the Katsu have a 5-card hand. And if that's going to be your action point, you're already going to be behind. So he doesn't do it. He would have ran into a red... snapback. So what does he have in his hand? I can't even tell. He has 2 pots. I just can't tell what the other one is. I think it's a blue scalding. I think it's a blue scalding, 2 potions plus a red snapback. Red snapback's fine in Arsenal, but I would have already probably sent that plus whatever was so he sees a pot. My hand would have been just all blues, the 2 potions plus the scalding that was here that he just pitched, plus this top card, which has been a blue. So yeah, so all blues. Because I would have sent the potion down and used the and play the snapback last turn, which means I probably wouldn't have a good Arsenal target. But you need to send damage. You need to send damage. This should be pitched to send Scalding Rain for 3. I don't care if it doesn't strip anything from his hand. You're already sending damage. You're not. It's something that you need to do to strip some cards. Maybe you can get away with it. If he does pitch to his just for a measly 3, more than likely he's probably got a bad hand anyways, or they all cost 0. or something, and along those lines. And he half wanted to play the Arsenal card last time too, whenever he was thinking about it in sections. He put it down considering the first turn to play it. So this one you do block. This one you have to give a card up for. If you get beat by Ancestral, then it happens. It's just one of those things. I will say this. He's blocking with the blue instead of a red. I don't know what he has in his hand. I think it was a Wildfire, something else. A Blazing. I would have straight up blocked with the Blazing. Only because the Blazing doesn't do anything for combo turn right now. It could be a Blazing Rags target or a Boots target, because you do have 4 extra resources in your hand. So you think of it as 2 more yellows in your hand for combo turn. So it's good to block here. I just want to see what the rest of his hand looks like. Oh, it's a red tome. So yeah, it's not. It was probably not a very good turn just to pop off, because he's down resources anyways, and they just equal out to 3 blues in his hand rather with a red. So that was the one that he was wanting to play. It was a spinning wheel kick, which is typically kind of an okay thing. You can search another one and play it for 5. So it's usually it's a 3 card 9. Not too crazy because it's the one you pitch plus the 2 cards. But he actually has a natural one, so he doesn't actually have to Katsu, which is interesting. He doesn't need to field his graveyard. He already has it. So his hand was a little wonky. I don't know the actual draw up order. But this tome is going to play into... The turn could have been worse last turn, with how much damage was being tossed. So this isn't bad. He lost tempo with the first 2 turns, the very first 2 turns. So nothing to send on your opponent's turn and nothing to send on your turn. You set up. You let your opponent get away with 6 points of damage. It's 5 points of damage. So he's going to send this for 3, and then he's going to send the Snapback and Arsenal, which is usually pretty good. Like, good damage. Nobody wants to block vanilla damage here. So yeah, usually this is not that bad, not that threatening. We get the tempo back that we should have had earlier, in terms of damage to your opponent. Then he would be like down to the 28 range. So whenever it comes to AB2 on a Katsu, you have to get him at least below 28, below 28, maybe about 26. Might be a little bit more safe, but 28 is spindle combo range. So he didn't even pitch anything for AB when it comes to 3 arcane and then another 3 arcane. And then he uses this here. I'm going to assume that he has 2 of the 3 natural pieces for this here. So he can probably block this, double block the next one, and then go about your day. I know it's something that you don't get to do anything on your turn, but he's wanting a wide turn. So you could consider all your options. He didn't pitch anything last turn, which means he can afford to Katsu now. So he's not down 1 card for the AB on the turn before, and he isn't down 1 card for Katsu because it goes to banish instead of handed, which I'm glad. Now, what he's about to do here is a mistake, and I don't understand his reasoning, right? Let this hit, do whatever you're going to do, and he's going to blind Kano off the top, and he's giving his opponent free information right now, and then he takes the damage. He takes the damage and then lets the opponent decide what he wants to do. He can pass on Katsu. He can actually Katsu and then do a different target that was a little bit more safe. Like, he can still do Whelming Gust Wave if he cared, because then you force the Kano to block the whelming because it is a on-hit draw. However, Masks offers a free Katsu, if you will. He can search for what he needs without even having to discard. So you got to put that into your thinking if you're the Kano. If I don't want him to... I kind of want him to tap out in a way. I don't want him to Katsu. Sorry. I want him to Katsu. I want him to tap out. I want him to remove all the cards in his hand. Then this is typically the better play, what Ben is doing here, because he gets to extend his combo without even tapping out, quote unquote. So that's one of the things that you have to take for consideration of blocking or not blocking when it comes to Katsu players. Does his mask make it to where he can safely get a lot of damage in without tapping out? Katsu is denied. So now that option is closed to me for him to quote unquote discard a card. So now he just gave his opponent free information without any reason to do so. Like, there's no reason for him to do this. Now he has to block the dishonor or he loses the Kano. Or basically kill him on this turn, but I don't know if that would have been... if he took it, it would have to say maybe Katsu at that point. But this is the only turn that the Katsu could have with these tomes. Sorry, tomes. These potions that are in play. With the potions that are in play, he might have it to be a little bit scared. Somewhat, yeah. So there's no guarantee, but if he blind Kano'd. Me, I'm a crazy bastard. I would have blocked that first one, and whatever's next, I would have blocked that second one. But he has a bonds and arsenal, so it's really scary. I would say that that is something you can also think about if you want to double block. Because of the fact that he already has a dishonor in graveyard. So you're going to have to take that into consideration. Maybe he already has all the pieces and you're just going to get fucked by dishonor and then you lose a game at that point. He's thinking about blocking and then he'll block the other one out. You've already did something off the top for no random reason. Giving your opponent free information. Now you're considering blocks. You do that later. And then he has all these cards to pay into AB. It's so bad. It's so bad right now. Still not at the life threshold that we want. With all the cards that's in his hand, he needs the Katsu to have an off turn. And this is one of the on turns type of thing. So he's already burned 2 equipment to put a lot of pressure on the Kano, basically. So he needs to get himself out of this, which is block this. Double block this. The only way that he can get around this is Ancestral, draw a card, Ancestral, draw a card, Breaking Scales, and then that comes in for 7. So he has to block this. The thing is, he tried damage last turn, which was good, 6 damage, but he was missing damage on the turn before in terms of like other turns later on down the road, like I mentioned. So he would have been at a lower life threshold, but usually this line here with 3 cards, you might just want to block smart. I'd probably block the Surging, see if he's got the Natural Descendant. I'd wait because he probably has a Bonds, hit the Dishonor, and then go about my day, but I wouldn't have done this. I wouldn't have done a random Kano blind off the top here. Especially if like maybe the Descendant was from Arsenal. We knew it was Bonds, but I'm just saying that as a for instance, if he did chess piece into Descendant from Arsenal, I'd probably let the Descendant hit, because more than likely he needs to Katsu a card from hand, play the bonds, get the Dishonor, and then block out the Dishonor. But it's just one of those things where he's almost burning everything just to do this turn. So you would have a lot more life already backed up. He'd be up at least 6 block worth. At the very least, 4. Yeah, so about 4. 4 damage. So he'd be up at 16 right now. No, I was just saying, yeah, Noah should be at 16, and then Ben should be slightly lower if I took my line of play, with at least 30, maybe slightly lower. And he had a blue that he wanted to prepare for, so it was a blue whelming gust wave. All right, so he's passing back, fixes himself with a blazing, looks like. Blazing, lesson, something. Like a blue. Oh, I think it's a tome. His tomes are getting unlucky with his, like, it gets clunky hands. Thing is, it's not going to be bad. Yeah, it's clunky hands from the Kano whenever he needs to put pressure back. So I don't know what you typically, this is just a follow-up to get the last spinning wheel kick. However, we already saw it too at the beginning. So this will be just something else to gain go again. And from the look of Ben's hand, the Kano doesn't know, but from the look of Ben's hands, this should be a weak turn. This should be a weak turn, right? Because it's kind of needs go again type of thing. Has a lesson in his hand, blazing, tome, I think a blue as well. What I would probably do is, his hands are getting slightly clunky with resources. I might even be weird and double block this and then use Tome to gain those cards back, because I've already got a blue in my hand. But what does that do for me? So he is tossing out a yellow to float. See what he does here. See what he grabs. Yep, so 100 wins, which means he probably was starving for a go again card. So he blocks out the 100 wins with the blazing. It's also probably something you could do is block out this one here. What's it called? The spinning wheel kick. You can probably block out the spinning wheel kick. With maybe Tome plus blazing. Then he Kadachis and then does whatever at the end. And then your only line's lava. Lesson in lava. So this is coming in for 4. He'd be down to 3, then he can give it go again. But he's at 1 card. Usually Katsu's, when they end the turn on the the Flusterfist, he's probably got a red in hand because blue sucked to Arsenal. So he would have tossed the blue if his hand didn't line up correctly and keep Tenacity into his arsenal. But if Tenacity's not good, a red is even better. So think on AB2. So right now that is considered to be probably 10 points of damage. I don't know what his hand looks like. Is that a spindle? Is that a blue spindle? Or is that a red spindle? I think it's a red spindle, yeah. I can't really tell, but if it's a blue, his hand wasn't great to go off anyways. So he's just gonna breaking scales this and say no blocks. Now he actually gets an arsenal, right? He gets an arsenal. This Katsu's had an arsenal the entire time, I think. So right now he's going into a tome, which should have been, if he wants to be able to push damage while blocking, he should have blocked with 2 more cards. I know it's not great. Maybe at least 1 more card. Probably this one here at the end. But if you're wanting to use that as your action point rather than a lesson in lava, I think you just block with the lesson in lava and keep the resource card. So you'd be up 3 block. So you'll be at 5 right now. So he has to snap back. Really rough to see that off. So yeah, it was a blue spindle here. So he had 3 blues off of this tome. Yeah, his blues is getting clumped together with his reds getting awkward positions. So that's also slightly playing into his game right now for him. Yeah, all of his blues are just lining up. There's no space in between. And that's one of the things that he should have read into with all these reds are getting kind of combined together. So maybe I should have just went for the lesson to help reshuffle. It was a reshuffle before off the top, which then gave him 2 reds here. But I don't think the tome was the best play because then you're just banking off RNG. And now the RNG is paying for it. So this one's the best play. Yeah, send this first. He does have a blue left over. This blows, man. This sucks. In terms of Noah's in a really bad position here. He's getting blues off the top when he needs really, really impactful reds and yellows. And when he is actually having the yellows, they're on his opponent's turn. So here, which is interesting, he AB'd to the snapback instead of an on hit, quote unquote, which this is an opt effect on damage, which at that point, I'm like, yes, he AB2'd this. Now he's going to AB2 the spindle, which should be really, really good for me. Because that's 2 cards. He's tossing something. Maybe a Kadachi, I don't know. And then I take something, and then he'll go into his card plan, maybe from something from Arsenal. So with this, he's gonna AB2 and see the reds and the yellows he wants to see on his flips for tempo turn. He's really getting screwed out of it. He puts it on the bottom in stacking order, like normal. Holding up a card that will help him try to guarantee some type of damage on combo turn next turn. So now he's trying to, and all he has to do now for Ben is just play a go again card, and yep, that's it right here. Like this sucks, right? I see Swell in Noah's hands. Okay, you got to take Swell out of the Katsu. You cannot just do 2 for 6s. It has to be for high or AB. You can't do it in this type of deck. In my personal opinion, it's now going to clunk up his hand when he needs to do it. It's not like it's Spindle. If this was a Spindle 2-cost red, rather than a 2-cost 5 do nothing. 2-cost 5 damage do nothing, because that's what it basically is. Spindle cannot find the blazings that he needs. However, he's already seen 2 of them, so that's kind of like a pipe dream to get the blazing off of Spindle. And here you're blocking to save life, but it's only one resource. So keep that in mind. It's only one resource. So now Ben should be a little bit hesitant. The potions are giving him caution, but it's still not doing anything that he should have done at the beginning. Finding them when he's like maybe sending a red flare and then Kano to see if there's something that he can connect on his own turn for Noah on his main phase, and then sees a potion and you have already stripped a blue. That's fine. Like, it's already the luck of the draw with getting that instead of a card, but he's playing them for action points and things like that. He found one off the top that was lucky, but this should be a caution. This is what Ben needs to do. He needs to think. Do I send one card? Do I do this? Do I do that? Let's see, let's extend here. So he's got one coming in. So he's got one in for one. You don't take the, you don't do anything here. So now he actually has a blue. It's a blue. So we now know it's a little too late to know, but we do now know that Ben pockets blues. So the turn that he had a clunky hand, thank goodness he did have a clunky hand. It was looking pretty bad if he went to go for it, right? Ben is the type of person to sandbag blues in Arsenal. Does not do anything for you, right? I still think you need to block this out as Noah, because he can give it go again. It's a 2 base, right? So you need to block it out. It'll force a card out of Noah's hand again, because then it'd get go again. Force Noah to block it, evaluate it, see if it's worth breaking for breaking boots. Goes down to AB1. And then try to go. I know you're down some lessons and stuff. Me, I would probably block it, but he's probably evaluating everything, right? Yeah, you got to be a little hesitant, because last time he ended with one floating and you would think it was going to be a red in Arsenal, but he pocketed a blue. Who's to say that that card in his hand is a blue? Only because that card in hand should have been like a more powerful attack. So that should be suspect right here, that this is a 2 cost, sorry, a 2 attack. 2 damage attack, 2 power attack, whatever you would say. That would be one of the things that I would look at. Tide flippers, take that into consideration. He's doing math in his head already. But he's going with a blind flip, which to me doesn't bode well for me. Because if you're going for like a lesson line, if you've got a blue, then he knows he probably has to go for a higher damage attack, because this needs to be 4 spell rather than 3 spell. So he does have a blue. He wants to do that. And then he sees like a blazing on top, I think. So it's between blazing and lesson. Or no, it's a wildfire. So it's another wildfire. So I will tell you this, his top deck was not helping him out. Even if he kind of fumbled it in the beginning with the tempo plays and things like that, and the blind flip for no reason, his top deck could have been changed. It could have been changed because of his hands being different and not shuffling the when he needs to shuffle type of thing. So it could have played out differently, but from how he's playing it, it's also not agreeing with him. That's why I can kind of see why he's so behind. His awkward plays combined with unlucky top deck. But we'll put the unlucky top deck at the second part. The second point would be the last thing to say, that was the reason why he lost. Spoiler alert. Now he has a floating Kano, and he has to decide what he wants to do. So what he should do is bottom the he should bottom the wildfire and that he is deciding on the top, he should put on the bottom. And then the spare Kano could be used for like a tome or a blazing or anything like that, because he has 6 resources plus the threadbare, so it's 5 resources total. Or sorry, he has 6 resources, the one that's in hand, so that's 7 resources, which would be enough for full pump on the wildfire that's in arsenal, plus the 2 costs that's there, right? This is lethal on the stack. I would have blocked it, but that's just me. But he's doing a half combo. I've done half combos, but it's a little bit too rocky right now to do half combo, I think. I got extremely lucky with my half combo on the Katsu, the very final round for my RTN. So now he's just AB2ing it. You don't get all the information that's in his hand for the next card that's in his hand. So now he has to pop this one here. Which if you were to go with like my play of Wildfire from Arsenal for 5 resources, because there's a yellow and 2 potions, so that's 6. Threadbare gives you 7. Full pump Wildfire gives you 5. He had a floating Kano you would still use, because you wouldn't let it resolve. So you use that for maybe the blazing or tome. So what I would do is put this Wildfire on the bottom, keep the floating, send the Wildfire fully bumped. This is a 38 damage line. I think he started at 29. So maybe he can get lucky with tome plus another blazing, which would be lethal, but he still has 1 card. So he did it wrong in that way. Because if it were to be pumped fully, it would have been 4 damage, and then this one would be 7. No, sorry, 8. So it'd give you 2 more damage of the opt to look at something. But before you did everything, you would probably need to check your graveyard before you went to go with a spindle trigger here, pull off the top. So he lets it hit. I'm just going to go ahead and finish this video here. He lets it hit. And he is going to see a gaze of the ages here. He sees 1 gaze. And he sees, I think, all blues. I would have had the floating Kano be the gaze, and then just play the gaze and opt further for like tome plus maybe blazing. If the spindle had 1 more resource for him to allow another damage / opt, then I would probably be worried, because then it'd be lethal, because instead of 38, it's 40 for the entire damage line if I did it the way that I was going to do it. So he messes up here. He kind of like fixes the thing of all blues here. And then he goes ahead and blocks, and then he gives it go again for lethal on the next card. So this is just a red. So he would have had 3 AB. So he would have 3 AB. This is damage on the stack if he blows like the entire equipment suite for Noah. So yeah, a lot of things happened. I would say some of the early tempo was not found from the beginning. With the action points being potions and not going, you're going second with not sending anything. I would probably also say that blind flipping didn't make sense for that 1 turn. Plus his top deck was not kind. Those are the few points that I would say that he lost this round. So thanks for watching, guys. I hope you took something educational from this video. Let me know if there's other RTNs. I'm going to try to find some if they were already recorded with Kano so that we can watch. Thanks for watching.